Welcome to Watching the Horizon. I'm Jake. So, how do you know when it's time to bug out? I mean, with everything that's going on right now, how do you know that it's time to go ahead, pack it up, and bug out? Like, what would it take for that to happen for you? I've talked to some other individuals, and I get answers kind of all over the place. I think part of the problem is that the term bug out is sort of a popular term now. It's sort of entered the collective consciousness, and it's sort of, it doesn't really mean the same that it used to. So just real quickly, let's just talk out what bugging out means, at least to me, which is, to bug out means something's happened and you need to grab your stuff and go. Time is of the essence. Of course, time is always of the essence when bugging out, and I feel like an unwritten rule here is the earlier that you can bug out, the better. So the last thing you want is for fire and hailstorm to be raining down on you when you make the decision to bug out. I feel like if that's the scenario, you've probably waited too long. But to bug out means you're going to leave it all behind. It's probably going to be the last time you're ever going to see that stuff again. Probably the last time you say goodbye to your car or your house or wherever you live, and you're going to go and not come back, or at least the potential for not coming back is likely. So I don't think a lot of people could do it, to tell you the truth. I don't think that at least Western culture, Western civilization, we like our stuff. We're very attached to things. Now, at some point, I'm sure someone's going to make a comment that, well, that's why I'm planning to bug in. Well, fine, that's cool. And you know what? That'll be another video. But for the sake of this exercise, let's say that for whatever reason, the preparations for your bugging in scenario fell by the wayside. At what point are you ready to bug out? What's it going to take? So, going back to the emotional attachment thing, I feel like you see on the news all the time where there's like a fire, and there's always that one holdout. I will stay and fight the fire. Or like a hurricane where they evacuate in a whole area, but there are people who won't evacuate. They're going to stay. Well, that's just stupid. Period. I mean, is it worth dying over? So you've got to bug out. Something has happened. What would it take for you to comfortably, or at least not comfortably, but at least in your mind, what would it take? So I think that has a lot to do with what you're looking for. So if you're bugging out, or at least you're holding out for like maybe an economic collapse. Well, if the stock market crashes tomorrow, are you going to bug out then? Probably not. I imagine that life will go on as usual, even with the stock market crash. I mean, if you look at the big stock market crash that caused the Great Depression, I mean, yeah, it was a big deal, but the after effects didn't come right away. That came a little bit later. So what about if the U.S. goes to war? Or what if there was a land invasion on the northern continent? Would you bug out then? Like, what would it take? Would it take UN troops to march through the middle of your town, enforcing peace? Is that what it would take? Obviously, it'll be different for everybody, but ask yourself, did you bug out on 9/11, 2001? If you were at least in or near the surrounding area of New York, if you didn't bug out, I would pose that you probably won't. You need some sort of trigger and practice, but you need some sort of trigger that's going to be it. Because if you bug out, but you bug out too late, then there was really no point for all those preps. Grab a bag and go, but be early. If you're too early, then who cares? It means you can come back. Or if it's a false alarm, who cares? Lock your door. Come home. No big deal. I think that it would be better to bug out prematurely and be wrong and then be able to come back later, versus wait because you're too uncomfortable to leave it all behind, only to find out that all the roads are jammed and now you're on foot. Maybe if you're in the middle of a city, that could really pose a problem. It'd be real nice to bug out with all the gas stations still open. It'd be nice to bug out with the grocery stores still open. Makes travel a whole lot easier if you could bug out in a vehicle versus on foot. So what would it take? I'd like to know. If you wouldn't mind sharing, I'm mostly just curious what other people's opinions regarding the subject is. What would it take, and what scenario, what situation would have to occur? Again, I imagine it would be very much a local thing. In your area, would the police have to declare martial law? Would that be it at that moment? All of a sudden now there's curfews and all this other stuff. Is that when you're going to try to slip under the radar and go, bug out to your location? Would it be some sort of big natural disaster in your area and they're evacuating everybody? Would it be... what would it be? Anyway, let me know. I'd like to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes open.